We are live streaming. Here we go. Live. We are live. We're live. We're live. So we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. Welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Firth, one of the founding Field Advisory Board members and Crowns with the company. And today, this is a passion of mine. That's something I'm really looking forward to talking about. I want to say we've started this year with an explosive bang. And there's a couple of people who are new to the team that know what I'm talking about, because we started with a slingshot and I thought it'd be quiet during January. Not really. So we had a goal of 100 meetings and instead we ended up with about 300. So I want to point out right now, some of those meetings are open to the world. Some meetings out of the 300 are closed meetings. So with that in mind, always from today forward, keep looking at the social media channels and the app, because we'll be sending out the open meetings. For example, we sent out 2 open meetings for Poland overnight. I'm going to be sending out the Greek one shortly today, and then you'll just start seeing all these meetings. So that means that you are truly in an international business. And I mean, for me personally, I can say this. I'm based in Australia. Sometimes people say to me, "Oh, Michael, I've got a person in Australia. Can you help me?" And they're in the team. I'm like, so I help people all across the world. There is 98% of my team outside of Australia, just so we're clear. This is a truly international business, okay? So I want to ask you this question as we kick off today. What do you want to be when you grow up? Some of you are going, hang on a sec, I'm 65, right? Well, I'm 57 and I haven't grown up yet, and Liz will attest to that. But you always have to have a vision. You have to have a goal. And one of the things our founder, Steve Scott, says, which is pretty profound, and I can attest to this, vision boards don't work. Did you hear that? Vision boards don't work. Well, I'll put my slant on that. Vision boards on their own don't work. What do I mean? A lot of people have probably watched that movie, The Secret, where you put up your vision board and then you cross your legs and go, I'm going to be a diamond. Oh, look, I became a diamond. No, it's not that simple, right? There's a bit more to it. You've got to put some activity steps in. You've got to set a goal that's very clear. In fact, did you pay attention to our little lady that came up and announced this event this week? And we shared some statistics. It was interesting because since the AI world is there, you can actually BS check things, right? BS, you can know what BS means. And so with that in mind, I remember growing up and hearing about a Harvard study that said 3% of people set goals and, the rest don't. That was made up apparently. But the truth is, right? The truth is that 42%, you have a 42% higher chance of achieving a goal if you write them down. That's a fact, current statistics. So maybe write that down. 42% chance higher. But researchers have also discovered that if you have specific goals that challenge you, then versus wishy-washy goals, you have an 80% higher chance of achieving them. 80%. This is huge, right? So before we kick off today, I want to say I'm not the one doing all the talking today. And I love the fact that we are one family and we have people who are in our downline. That would be our children and grandchildren. We have people who are in our upline. That'd be our grandparents. So Alex may be younger than me, but he's my granddad, right? And then we have cross-line cousins. And you know what? I love the fact that the energy of Neumi is not my team and your team and, competitiveness in that way. Instead, we all help the greater good. And some beautiful servant leaders that I've got to know. And Peter Nagy, who's a double diamond from Hungary, is with us today as well. And we've asked Peter if he could come on and share his perspective. Now, before he does, I'm just going to show you some tools you have. So if you go to the back office, you may or may not know this already. I'm just going to bring it up. Give me a sec. If you go to the back office, and I'll make sure that I don't show you the wrong screen because it's got to protect everyone's privacy in the back office, but here we go. This is the back office. If you go to the left-hand side on this little ribbon here, there's all sorts of things you can click on. One of them is actually tools and resources, and then documents and media. So tools and resources, documents and media, and then you'll see business building resources. And one of the things in the business building resources is the vision mapping workbook. And if you click that, that'll download it. Here's one I've prepared earlier that I've already opened. And I want to start off by showing you have had this available to you the whole time. Have you used it? That's a really good question. So this is the vision mapping document that the company put together. And in the start, by Steve Scott, at the start, what I love is Steve's got his personality test in there. Now, you might say, what's that got to do with vision mapping? Everything. Right? Because I am a lion and a lion does not like details. A lion is a big picture person. And when you scroll through this document and learn your personality type, It'll be helpful for you to understand how you absorb information best, but it'll give you the blind spot of the people in your team. For example, if you have someone like me who is a lion in your team and you say, Michael, we're going to get you to study all 76 pages of this and then we'll start, you lost me at hello. Just so we're clear. I want a one-pager, scan it, let's go. Whereas we do know there are beavers in the business and they want to read page 1 and then laminate it. Page 2, then laminate it and frame it on the wall. I'm only joking, but eventually get to page 76 and they've done all of it, the whole workbook. I just want you to say this to you though, guys. Doesn't matter which personality type you are, you actually don't learn just by reading that book. There is zero personal development in reading that book. There's zero personal development in having Steve as a mentor unless you put it into action. They say, and Robert Kiyosaki says that the network marketing business is the best business school on the planet, which I agree, because he says you learn things, but you put them into practice, and it's putting them into practice where you actually have the learning, not the reading. So if you are the sort of person who maybe is a beaver who's like getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready, so it's ready, aim, 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 just pull the trigger, guys. Fire. If you are a lion, maybe stop for a second before you pull the trigger and have a listen to what Peter has to say and some of the information we're going to give you today. You don't necessarily have to read all 76 pages. I'm going to give you 5 steps that I cover, but we're going to kick off with Peter Nagy. So Peter, thank you for staying up. Would you believe, actually, I won't tell you what time it is. Peter will tell you what time it is over there, and this shows you commitment. So over to you, Peter.
All right. Hi, guys. So this is 2 o'clock in the morning. So I went to sleep, and then Michael called me just to make sure I'm up. But I was editing videos, so I'm up. And I appreciate the opportunity, and I love to teach my guys and help people, and so this is a part of that. So my subject is setting goals, and Michael mentioned vision mapping, and here's an idea for those who believe in vision mapping, or not vision mapping, the vision board. One of the ways to do a vision board, and it's like a 2026 way of vision boarding, is you create a Instagram account on your phone, and you don't follow anybody except you follow the brand of car that you like. You follow, let's say you like container houses, so you follow some channels where they always posting about container houses. You follow the best travel destinations that you like, and you only follow those things, maybe 10, 15 different things. And anytime you go to this Instagram account, it's going to motivate you up to the roof. So that's the way to do it. So there's always different pictures, but always the same subject, nothing else. So that's that. Goals. Why we talk about goals in this business, or in any business, is a very, very simple, and probably you know it, but just let's look through it. If you working for a company, and when you go to work for a company, they tell you like you're gonna make X amount of dollars in this company. Whatever you do, probably for a year or 2, you're gonna make that much money. So it's not much. It's not a good sense of to create big goals because you have that much money. So why would you create big goals like this when you know already that's the money that you're gonna make? So all your goals is gonna be within that limit of how much income you have. But once you get into this business, you need to have goals because the income is based on your goals. In employment, the goals are based on your income. So that's big, huge difference. And if you don't have goals, it's like having a car without an engine. It can't start. It can't move fast. It may look good. It can sit in a garage, but you can't use it. And this business without the goals is not gonna work. The first bump in the road where somebody tells you that they don't like the idea, they don't want to work with you, or they tell you they're gonna work with you, and 2 days later they don't answer the calls. If you don't have a big enough goal, this little bump is enough to stop you because you don't have a strong engine in a car that pulls you through all those bumps. You can't go uphill if you don't have an engine in a car. You can only go downhill because to go downhill, you don't even need an engine. So that's one of the reasons you need a goal. How we use the goals, because this is a tool. In this business, having goals is not just important thing. It's actually a tool, because in certain situations, that tool is gonna get you out of the trouble, or that's gonna get you to the next step. If anytime something happens, like you wake up in the morning and a bad doesn't just throw you out, you just don't like feel like, wow, let's go, we're gonna do the business today, and we're gonna call this guy, and I'm gonna have this meeting, and you don't feel that. That's a time when you have to get to this tool, goals, or you go to this Instagram page that you created, or just sit down with a pen and paper and start writing down your goals, because this engine is stuck. It's something wrong. It doesn't motivate you anymore, because you could change. You watch a movie, you change. You read a book, you change. You go to a diamond cruise, you change. You go to Barcelona, you watch the event, you're gonna change, and you're gonna change. And the goals that you set when you first receive the pack with the products is not gonna be the same goal that you're gonna have when you diamond. The goal that you're gonna set when you're senior member is most likely not gonna be the same goal that you set when you two-star, because your vision is wider. You meet more people who's successful in the business. You change, and your goal need to change with you. And maybe it's just, I don't want to have a white Porsche. I want to have a black Porsche. That's important, because you saw a white Porsche and it doesn't motivate you. So you're going to change the color. Wow, that's good. I like that. So that needs to be done regularly. You could do it every day, waking up with your goals, falling asleep with your goals. Grant Cardone is a billionaire, and he says that. He writes his goals down every day before he goes to bed. And it's just a couple of sentences. You don't need to have a lot. Whatever motivates you, it's good. And it should have some emotional connection to it. If you don't have emotional connection, it doesn't give you goosebumps. It doesn't make you teary-eyed. It's not good enough. You have to work on it. And there's a constant work to get this engine in a top shape, like a Formula One shape. So it moves you, it pushes you. It's just, you can't imagine dying without having those goals accomplished. It's also a good viewpoint, like what you want to accomplish, and what is the thing that you want to look back to and say, I did that. I have been there. I accomplished that goal. So that's that. Let's see what else I wrote up for myself. Okay, this is the time when Michael needs to help me, because I told him everything I want to talk about. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, so it's not the easiest things to put this also together again. I got it. So when you have goals, you may have goals for a week, or you may have goals for a month, or may have goals for a year. And that's usual. People set goals for a year. But what if you have goals for 5 years? That's not that usual. What if you have goals for 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years? It depends on how old you are, but you can easily, in this business, because of the products, you can easily set a 30-year goal, even if you're 60 or 70, because you're going to live long. So it's kind of a check mark there. And if you set goals for 30 years ahead, just think about it, like where you want to be, what you want to accomplish 30 years from now. How you going to look at yourself? How you going to look back to your life? How you going to talk about your life to your grandkids? What did you do? Where have you been? Who did you meet? What did you accomplish? Which places you traveled to? And just look at that story, how that story would look like. And from there, you can go back to 10, 15 years. What you need to accomplish by 10, 15 years from now to be able to get to where you want to be in 30. Let's say you want to be 30 years from now, you want to be with your grandkids. And if you don't have kids yet, that's kind of a tough goal to achieve. So then you know right away what you need to work on. And if you're only setting goals for a year, you may not think about that. So it's a good thing to sometimes just think ahead for 30 years, see what you want to get, and then go back from there. And you can also set goals, business goals. I'm not even talking about business goals yet. I don't even say that you want to be a diamond. That's the separate subject. It's really what you want to get out of life. That's more important. What you're gonna get out of life. Maybe Neumi is only gonna be a tool to get you from A to B to keep going with your life in some totally different direction. You wanna be an artist, you wanna be writing books, you wanna be do some totally different thing. And Neumi could be a tool to achieve that. But once you set the life goal for 30 years and you find Neumi's place in that journey, this is gonna be like going like crazy. So you're not doing Neumi just for the sake of Neumi, which is totally good, and maybe that's your goal. But there's a lot more things about life and a lot more things to achieve. And our event is called Achieve. So once you achieve, let's say diamond or a crown or double crown or whatever you're gonna achieve, you're gonna have time, you're gonna have money. What you gonna do? Think about it. What you gonna do if you get a huge amount of money? The first insane amount of money, it's easy to spend because you're going to get all the gadgets and all the stuff. But the next month, you're going to get another huge amount of money. Like I'm talking about crown and double crown and all those levels. The third month, again, you're going to get a huge amount of money. What are you going to do with it? So you're going to run out of goals that money can buy. So you have to have those other type of goals to still keep you moving forward. So I think that's what I would tell about goals, and that's what I would tell about this subject. But if I have more time, I can come up with more. Michael, help me on this.
Now, there was one key thing you said at the end of our conversation today, and I think that was one of the biggest ones people don't do. Do you remember what that was? The last thing you told me.
Writing them down?
Reviewing it.
Oh, yeah, I kind of, okay. So reviewing the goals, that's why I meant like when you feel like you're not just pushed out of bed. You feel like you don't have the drive anymore. So you have to review the goals. Like, do I still motivate me? Is still something that I really accomplish? Is still this is the way I want it? And maybe just a little tweak on it could help you to motivate you again. Or sometimes you have to just throw it away and just put another goal there, completely different. And that's what is going to motivate you. Because as I said before, like you change. So if you change and your goals don't change, that doesn't make sense. The purpose of your life could change. Relationships around you change. Political situations change. Maybe you move to another state, another city. Everything can change. And because of that, your goal, many, many reasons can be found why you need to change your goal. And the key is if you think about it and you have to feel like you drop everything and just focus on the business, that's a good goal. If you think about it and nothing really happens, your heart doesn't start pumping and you're not like, okay, what am I going to do now? I need to do something to get that goal because if I can't waste time. Another thing is, and just coming back to me, look at your time. If you don't have a goal, your time is going to be really cheap. If you have a big goal, your time is going to start getting more and more expensive. If you look at yourself, I'm a crown, and you have to look at yourself as a crown before you're going to be a crown. It's other way around. So you have to feel like it, do like it, and act like you are a crown, and then you're going to be a crown. But how much money a crown makes, it doesn't really matter right now, but just think about it. It's not it's not just a short change. There's like a lot of money. If you divide that money to an 8-hour day, you can calculate how much is a salary for a crown per hour. 8 hour a day, 5 days a week. Just stay with that. And just think about it. If that would be your income, hourly income, what would you do with your hours? How would you put your calendar together? how much time you would spend with somebody who's arguing with you about some stupid little thing. And look at yourself like that, and look at your time that way. And that has a lot to do with goals, because if you that's what your time worth, you're not going to waste it. If you set little goals, your time is going to worth little, and you're going to start wasting it because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. I wash my car for half an hour. No, if you have enough money, get somebody else to wash your car. Get somebody else to do your things, because your salary is a huge salary. Even if you're not a crown yet, even if you're not a diamond yet, think with it. Like you're going to have a huge salary, but you have to think with it now. And then it's going to happen. If you don't think like that, it's not going to happen. So that's about it. Thank you for having me here. And I hope it's not the last one. And I want to do one. I don't know how many people from Europe watching this, but we're going to do something similar or something I would really love to do for the European time, because these guys are sleeping. So they need to wake up and they need to smell the coffee.
Beautiful.
Like
Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, like I said, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, nearly turning 2:30, 3 o'clock now. So that is commitment. Now, from my perspective, I want to share this with you. Firstly, most of the big leaders in the industry would have already set their goals in 2025, their vision map ready to start the year. They didn't do it now. But we thought we'd bring this call on because if you haven't, now's the time. There's never been a better time. The other thing I wanted to cover off is my beautiful friend, Rhonda Dasher. Rhonda's one of the people who helped set up the company at the start with Alex and I. She once said to me, she loved the way I addressed a particular topic, but she said, Michael, I really like if we could get more than one person to cover a topic, because you'll see things this way and they might see it this way. And that means we give a 360-degree view on the topic. So that's one of the reasons I want to thank Peter for taking the time to get up at such a crazy time to talk to us today. I'm going to give you my 5 points, simplifying it, my 5 points to set up your vision mapping and goal setting for the year. Now, I've been using these 5 points with my team. I use these 5 points myself. So if you get a pen and paper out, you want to write these down. Like I said, I'm a lion otter personality, which is a driver, talking, fun, that sort of person, not details. So 76-page document, read it once, that's great, ticked a few boxes. But what I want is something really simple that I can put on one hand. 5 steps. These 5 steps are all you need, in my opinion, to make sure you get a very successful business for the year. Number 1, I'll go through them one by one. You can write them down, then I'll cover them individually. Number 1, set your ultimate goal. So number 1, set your ultimate goal. We'll come back to that. Number 2, and don't worry if you think, oh, I missed it, I'll say it again. Number 2, brainstorming roadblocks. Number 2, brainstorming roadblocks. Number 3, plan from the bottom up. What does that mean? I'll talk about it in a minute. Number 3, plan from the bottom up. Step 4, map it out in stages. And step 5, keep it top of mind daily. I'll cover them again. 1, set the ultimate goal. 2, brainstorm roadblocks. 3, plan from the bottom up. 4, map out the stages. And 5, keep it top of mind daily. Now, I want to say this too, and I forgot to say it when Peter finished. You don't fall on the top of a mountain. So Peter is a double diamond, right? And I heard him say he was a crown. I'm like, oh, did I miss a recognition? No, he's saying he is a crown, and he is. I can tell you everything he does is crown energy. He's just waiting for the volume to catch up. Same with you, right? So the 5 steps that I'm going to talk about now, number 1 is set your ultimate goal. And Peter kind of covered that a little bit, right? And I suppose, where do you want to be at the end of 2026? Now, ultimately, if you've got a vision board and you're planning your future and what have you ever sat down, put on a pair of headphones, and then just visualize, what do you want? Where do you want to be? What's your life look like? When you get out of bed in the morning, what are you doing? If you don't have a boss to answer to, what time are you getting out of bed? What are you doing with your life? Where are you living? Now, you don't need to know how yet. It's just like, what do you want? Right? If you had a list where you could just tick it off, oh, I'd like a Ferrari. I'm not motivated like that was. I was when I was a kid, not anymore. Ferraris mean nothing. I'd much rather support an orphanage and feel good in my heart than have this flashy car that someone scratches. But whatever it is for you, if it's a flashy car, great. If it's supporting an orphanage, fantastic. Where did I get the inspiration from that? Alex Monterosa. Alex has supported an orphanage for years. soon as you hit crown. I went to the orphanage, saw the brass plaque on the wall that said, thank you to the Monterosa family. I just felt amazing. My heart exploded, brought me to tears. I'm like, that's what I want to do in my life. Something that makes a real difference. So have you sat down and written what your ultimate goal is? What's your absolute perfect day going to look like? That's the first place to start. You don't need to know how. But in this vision mapping process, I would then say to you, you do need to know, where do you want to end up at the end of 2026? Or let's say the start of 2027, in 12 months from now. Is it diamond? Is it crown? What does diamond mean for you? If you are a diamond, and again, this is not an income claim. If we were to publish these figures, we must publish every figure. That's why you don't see us print averages. So I'm just saying this off the top of my head. FTC, if you're listening to this, I'm not making an income claim, right? But on average, last year, a diamond was about $100,000 a year. So if you had a six-figure income coming in, roughly, might be more, might be less, non-income claim, what would you do with your life with 100,000 or more? Again, not an income claim, but the average crown about a few years ago was about 350,000 US average at the time, right? May not be now, maybe more, maybe less. Who knows? I'm not making an income claim. I'm just saying, if you had a vision to look forward to and you had, 350,000, which is about 500,000 Aussie, what would your life look like? When would you get out of bed? Where would you be living? Where would you be traveling to? Have you given any thought to this big picture? That's number one. Type it in the chat if you've given thought to that. And also, have you written down exactly where you want to be at the end of this next 12 months? So is it diamond, right? I'm going to use an example of someone I coached yesterday, right? And I realized that their goals were a little wishy-washy, and I helped them to get clarity around those goals. So I know if she's listening right now, she'll be nodding, going, absolutely, he did, right, with somebody else. So that's step number one, the ultimate goal. Where do you want to be? Step number two, brainstorm the roadblocks. This is what people don't do. They're like, yeah, I put up the vision board. Hey, I'm going to be a diamond. Ooh, I got my Ferrari and I've got my supporting my orphanage. Ooh, I feel great. Good luck. Now put the roadblocks in place. What are the roadblocks? Well, I can say this. I'm not a double crown, so I can't tell you how to become a double crown. If I did, I would be full of it. Add a couple of letters on the front of the it, right? Because I haven't done it. I am a crown. I can teach you how to do that. So anyone who tries to theorize how to get to a rank, good luck with that. There's no such thing as inspiring theory. It's only practical. So I look to Alex Monterosa as the pace setter for me, right? Because he's done that. What are the skills that he has that I don't have that I need to grow into to become a double crown? There may be something that's a blind spot for me. So I will work with my mentor to ask him, what do you think I need to learn next? And I'll give you an example, bringing it down a bit from crown, right down to maybe diamond, right? You want to be a diamond. Maybe you like the lady yesterday, you just want to be a 2-star by the end of the year. Fantastic. So what does that mean? Is there a skill that you haven't learned yet? Have you perfected the invitation to the point that you could, with nothing written down, and if I said right now, and I know she would, but I won't do it, Phoebe Wallace, tell us how you approach someone. Bang, nothing written down. She'll just say it. Why? She's rehearsed it. She knows what she's saying. It's not a script, but it is part of who she is. And it's now just a conversation because she did so much work on herself and practice. That's what a good leader does. If your goal is diamond next year, but you haven't perfected your invitation yet, block out some time this week or tomorrow to spend an hour or two perfecting it. Maybe this year you want to become a presenter because you know that, hey, your upline's doing all the presenting, so everyone's seeing your upline as the real leader, not you, because you're not presenting yet, right? So maybe you want to step up and learn how to present half of the presentation or something. Maybe that's the next step for you, right? Just remember, you can always learn from anyone. In fact, just to prove that, while we were listening to Peter, I thought, what a freaking great idea about the Instagram. So I set up an account. I haven't told my wife yet, but it was with her face, right? And because I need to keep it a separate one. I'll show you later. But it's a way of me now following certain pages. So I found one of the pages which was actually all about amazing beaches and opulent homes. Wow, I can scroll through now. You know why this is good, Peter? And I'll thank you for this. When I open up my news feed, unfortunately, I get lots of plastic, fantastic models pretending to be something they're not and all this rubbish. I don't get anything that's inspiring and heart, fulfilling. I get all this plastic rubbish. Now on this one, I'll be flicking that on and leaving that on unless I'm doing some Instagram work for the business. And I'll be just looking at the things that I want to aspire to. So that is a brilliant tip. And I want to thank Peter for that. So that was a blind spot for me. Something is a great idea. So what events do you have planned this year? The company's done a brilliant job. I want to thank them for coming up with the NYKO idea, which was not a field idea. It was a corporate idea. And wow, 300 meetings set up for the start of the year, which is fantastic. So let's go back to it again. You've got your big picture, number one, ultimate goal, where you want to be in, say, 5 years. You might put it on your vision board, all that sort of stuff. That's great. But it's not going to have any action unless you break it right down and go, where do I want to be at the end of this year? What is the rank? Right? What does that rank equal in income? Have you found that out? And then we go to step two, the brainstorming the roadblocks. Does my list, have I got 20 people on my list? Is that all I got? There's no way in a million years you're going to be a diamond at the end of the year if you have 20 names in your list. I'm just being honest with you. I don't want to lie to you. Write your list. Maybe that's it. You need to build a bigger list, right? Maybe that's what you need to do. Build a bigger list or learn new strategies to add to your list. I will never, ever, 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 ever run out of contacts. And I haven't contacted my whole list because I've got so much that I've engaged on social media, which is one strategy. I'm not saying you have to be on that, but maybe that's a blind spot for you. So what are your roadblocks? Brainstorm what they are. Be honest with yourself about where you're at, point A, where you want to be, point B, and what skills need to be developed in that step two. Step three, big one. Plan from the bottom up. What does that mean? Now, you might be brand new, in which case this isn't as relevant for you right now, but it was helpful for the lady I was coaching in the team yesterday because she was thinking, and maybe you are if you're new, here is the time I can put in, here is the results I can get, this is the rank I'm going to hit. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you've left a huge thing out there called leverage. What does that mean? Well, it's not about you. Yes, getting the ball rolling is, but eventually it's not. I'll give you a great example. Larry Wilson comes into the business. I'm looking at him now. Larry brings a friend of his to the table, Karen Justice, who had network marketing PTSD and said never again. Well, she came on board and now she's a double crown. Now, do I need to do much in that leg where there are crowns on double crowns and triple diamonds and double diamonds galore and diamonds all over the world? Do I need to? No, I probably could leave it, walk away and never touch it and it'll probably still grow, okay? That's leverage. So the ultimate aim, and I said this to the person yesterday, if there wasn't leverage in this business model, I wouldn't have even started. Not interested in buying myself a job. This might surprise you, but the reason my business is so big is because I'm lazy. What? Right? I'm driving this hard now because I want to not drive anything in the long run. That's my aim. I want to have a Peter Nagy across every leg of the business in the world and send him lovely postcards saying you're amazing while I'm not engaged anymore at some point. And my wife says I'll never get to that point because I love what we do. But she's probably right, but I'll certainly gear it right back, probably to 20% of the time that I put in right now. Okay. So step three was plan from the bottom up. What do I mean? If you have anyone in your team and if you're vision mapping ahead, it's not just about what you do. So consult with people in each of your legs. Okay. Now for me to set my next goal, I go to leg number one is rolling on, is going to go around the world without me. Let's talk about, let's say, legs 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are their goals? So if I picked a random leg, right? Phoebe, right? Phoebe's leg number 5 at the moment for me. So in that leg, what did I do? I sat with Phoebe and I said, Phoebe, let's brainstorm these 5 steps for you. What skill do you think you need to develop this year? What's your ultimate goal? And when do you want to hit it and by when? And then I encouraged her to do the same. I said, let's go through your legs, speak to the individuals and find out what their goals are. Now, this is what I do. I'm not suggesting it's perfect, but it's what I do. Each leg, when I've got their goals, I write them all down, I add them all up and go, okay, if everyone's goals came true, what's the outcome of my goal? So I'm not pushing them going, oh, I need you to be a diamond so I can be a presidential. Not at all. I don't bring my goals onto the table at all because it's not about me. I'm not here to push Phoebe or anyone for that matter. I'm here to help them achieve their goals. So whatever goals they set, I then halve them just because I'm a realistic person. And some people will go, yeah, I want to be a crown by the end of the year. And I'm like, okay, so you haven't made any phone calls yet? Right? So it's not going to happen necessarily. But whatever the goal is, if I work with that person and they set what I believe is a tangible, realistic, smart goal, which means you can measure it, right? Then I'll halve it in my goals so that I might have to find that volume elsewhere, knowing that if they hit 50% of their goals, I'm going to smash mine out of a ballpark. Does that make sense? If it does, type in yes, right? So what their targets are, add all of those legs up, guys. So if you're a 2-star right now, go into every leg of your business, sit with those individuals, brainstorm where they want to be at the end of the year, find out what their roadblocks are. And when you add them all up, then put them down in each of the businesses, and there's your goal. You know you're going to achieve your goal because you're helping those individuals achieve theirs first. So that is step 3, plan from the bottom up. Step number 4, map it out in stages. Okay, so if your ultimate goal in December, and I'll use a lady yesterday, and she won't, I'm not saying her name, so she won't mind me saying this, but she'd set a goal of being a 1-star in 3 months from now, right? Which, you know, she's not a senior member yet. So that's a very doable goal. But then she'd said, in 6 months, I'd like to, you know, if this happens, I'd like, and I'm going, hang on, we're getting wishy-washy now. If you don't have a specific thing that is locked in concrete at the start, then it's too easy to go, well, if I don't hit it, it's not a big deal. That's not a goal. A goal is that's what I'm going to do. Now, yes, you can put the goals in concrete now, and then down the track, you know, the plans are in sand and you can move them a bit and maybe you adjust the goals and so forth. And Peter mentioned it beautifully, review the goals, review the goals, maybe you're going to reset them during the year, but you've got to put something in concrete right now. So in 90 days from now, she wanted to be a 1-star, and that's fantastic. But how's she going to do that? What are the activity steps? So I know this particular person isn't as free as, I've got another person in my business who made 70 phone calls yesterday. 70. That's what I did when I launched. Now, you're going to hear about this person coming on the map in the Neumi world in a big way soon, but that's someone who understands goal setting, understands the industry already, and doesn't have to hold down a job and just went bang, 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 let's ring, 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 ring. That's what I did launching my business. But I also knew that this lady yesterday doesn't have that time. She's working as a single parent, and she has to hold down a job, and she's not going to make 70 calls in a day. So I asked her, instead of me setting the target, how many calls could you make in a day? And we came up with, in a week, she could make at least 10 calls. And that's the base level, yeah? I'm talking 70 calls in a day, 10 calls in a week. Still, add it up. 10 calls a week. By the end of the 3 months, she would have called 120 people. Now, statistically, even if 10% of those people came in, that's 12 members. 12 members times 100 PV is 1,200 PV. Plus her own PV, she's basically going to be a senior member. And that's where she's going, oh, so my goal doesn't work. And that's when I've gone, hang on, let's talk about leverage. Out of those 12 people, I need 2 more fingers. I'll pull my leg up, but I'll probably dislocate my knee, right? 12 people in the team. What if out of that, maybe 6, no, not even that, 4 people, right? 4, actually make it 3. 3 people decided to keep moving. One of them went out and did what you did and added 12 people to the team. So now you got 24. And the other one might have added maybe 6, and now you got 30 people. Yeah. So that's 30 people times 100, isn't it? That's 3,000. Oh no, she hasn't hit her goal. Well, let me let you in on a little secret. If you're planning your goals around 100 PV, that's good, but that's not the norm. The norm across the world on average has been 200 PV. Why? Some of the people are going to join your team, and they're going to be the lowest common denominator of 100 PV, and they're going to become a glorified customer. Out of those 12 people, is everyone going to go on and build? No, and if you believe they are, you're deluded, right? It's normal. It's like how many out of 12 people that join a gym are still going in 6 months? 3 on average, right? Most people quit on themselves pretty quickly. Same in network marketing, same in going to the gym, same in everything, right? So the average is 200. Why is that? Because the people who are building their business properly, they're getting their 100 PV of 2 products every month, yeah? But they know they're going to need some product for events, product to get in someone's hands now before theirs arrives, so they don't have to wait an extra week. Maybe in some countries where it's fully registered, they might sell a product. So they're going to have a minimum of 100 PV, but they're going to buy product to have it in the cupboard to build their business. Product that they do not touch for themselves. It's just there to build the business with. So that's why $300 packs go out and $500 packs, whatever. So what it means is the average across the world last year was about 200 PV. So if you're setting your goals on 100 and you are going to have people who are going to build the business, you're going to smash that. So 30 people is likely to be a 1-star on the averages, very likely, okay? But we're going to shoot beyond that, but that's the base level. So she's going, oh, wow, so that equals a 1-star. Yeah. She said, I didn't even calculate the leverage of a person doing work as well. And that's normal for someone in a normal business or a normal job. You don't expect leverage, but leverage is the key with this, right? Like I said, back to a big example of that. Larry introduces Karen. Karen introduces, God knows, 60,000 people in that team or something now. Huge, right? So that is map it out in stages. Where do you want to be in December? Bring it back 3 months, right? So what's that? So we're now in January, February, March, April. Where do you want to be in April? May, June, July. Where do you want to be at the 5th anniversary? August, September, October. Where do you want to be October? November, December, January. Where do you want to be this time next year? So maybe January is diamond, 50,000 PV, 3 1-star legs. Maybe it's 3-star by October. Maybe it's 2-star by July. Maybe it's 1-star by April. So that's wonderful. But now bring it right back to what this lady said. She reckons she could make 10 calls a day. Now, she's in Australia, New Zealand, and I said, well, I've got a surprise for you, and I've got a surprise for all of you. There's a very special event happening on Saturday morning in Australia, New Zealand, which will be Friday in the USA, and we're launching something in Australia they haven't got, and it'll be very exciting. Bert Wannacott's going to be on it, our scientist, and Aaron. And I said, once you hear what that is, you're going to kick yourself if you only rang 10 people. If there was ever a time to ring 30 people and triple your efforts, it's the next 2 days, because you're never going to have an opportunity for people to see Bert Wannacott on an Australian call ever again, because it's the first time in 4 years. It'll probably be the last one for the next 4 years. So now's the time to act. So a bit more inspiration to increase from 10 calls a week and maybe do 20 or 30 in the next few days, even if you take the rest of the week off. Let's turn the intensity up, right? So mapping it out in stages. Where you're going to be a year from now, 9 months from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, at the end of this month, where are you going to be? And activity steps into that. How many calls are you going to make? What does your list look like? Do you have a list so you could start making calls? Does she have 120 names, because you're going to need them by the time she gets to the end of March, which was her goal of calling 10 people a week. Finally, I get to this one. Step 5, keep it top of mind daily. Now, I'll go back to what Steve says, and I agree with him. Vision boards on their own don't work, because a goal without a date is a wish. You've got more chance of winning Tats Lotto than that dream coming true if you don't put activity steps and vision map it the way we just did down, okay? Now, I want to add some funny stories on this at the same token. I learned about vision boards and goal setting and vision mapping, all this sort of stuff years ago, because I was one of these weird people that the day I turned 18 years old, which, guys, was 49, no, hang on, I'm 57, so I'm 58 this year. So I turned 18, so that was 40 years ago, wow, that I joined the industry. I earned $1.50 a month in Amway for many, many years and read a lot of books. Then I joined a company called Amiga Trend, which was an Australian version of that, and learned more about goal setting and vision mapping and those sorts of things, and I earned about $18.50 a month for many years and read a lot of books. And then eventually I grew into someone who had confidence in the industry. I'm just a byproduct of the industry. So I'm not telling you stuff that I invented. I'm telling you stuff that mentors have trained me over decades. And anyway, but the funny story was, one time I wanted a particular car, right? And so everywhere I went, the only photograph, a good photograph of I could find, was actually in one color, which was white. But I didn't want a white car, I wanted a red one. But I put on the vision board the really good looking photo that I could find. When I went to get it, do you think I could find any deals for the red one? No, I was going to save thousands of dollars if I just got a white one. And in the end of the day, what did I do? I got the one that was on the vision board. It had been on my face all the time. And so that's how it works. So I was very careful after that to pick the right color, the very specifics of what the car is, specifics about actually what you want to achieve. So just saying financial freedom is not a goal, just so we're clear. That's a wishy-washy thing that will never come to pass. What does financial freedom mean to you? How many dollars is it a week? How many dollars is it per year? What rank is that? This is where you've got to get away from being wishy-washy and be specific. Yesterday, when working with this particular lady, I translated what an average 2-star income was last year into New Zealand dollars, and her eyeballs blew out of her head. She's like, holy moly. If I achieve that, I said, tap into this. How are you going to feel when you achieve it? She was like almost in tears, like, man, if I do that, my whole life will have transformed. Everything in my life. I'm like, okay, great. Now we're tapping into the emotions. So we need to tap into whatever it is it's driving you. 2 times in my life, emotional things helped me grow a network marketing business. One in the previous company, my daughter came to me one day and said, Dad, we hardly see you. I was in the corporate world in a job like most people, never having enough time to myself, earning a great income, no such thing as real lifestyle in the corporate world. So my daughter was my motivation to quit the industry, as in the corporate world. And she was my driver, and it worked because she tapped into here. It was like I'd almost brought to tears thinking my daughter says she hardly sees me. I need to change this. You all know this, or maybe don't know this story. Prior to Neumi, I lost everything financially and relationship, everything. And I was literally, Steve says I was sleeping on someone's floor. Wasn't that bad. I had a bedroom, but I was at a friend's house, right? And I had nothing. And then eventually, after 3 months, he said, my wife says you should probably find somewhere to live because it's getting long in the tooth. So I eventually got my own rental property and got back into the world. So I had lost everything before Neumi. So my motivation was, I'm never going to be financially screwed like this ever again. I'm going to build so hard and fast. And then 12 months later was a crown. No one was more surprised than me. I share this with you for one reason. I was driven. Why was I driven? Because I tapped into my emotional drivers very clearly. I was laser focused on what I was going to do, and nothing was going to get in my way. That's the difference between a wishy-washy goal and being really dead serious about what you're going to do, how many activity steps are going to come into that to make it happen. So let's just review. And I thank you, Irene, for typing it in there. So number 1, set the goal, the ultimate goal. What is it? What do you want to be when you grow up? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 12 months? What rank is that? What does it look like? How do you feel? Step 2, brainstorm the roadblocks. What skills do you need to develop that you haven't developed yet? Is there a step up to the next level of skills that you need to do this year? Enjoy the journey of who you're going to become, not just the destination. Enjoy. There's so many skills I've got in my life these days that network marketing taught me that I never had. I didn't know how to do a three-way call. I didn't know how to do a Zoom. I didn't know how to live stream. None of that stuff. They're all things I've developed. So I wasn't born with live streaming, right? In case you're going, well, I've never done that before. Neither had I, okay? Number 3, plan from the bottom up. If you do have a team, think about leverage, get their goals, find out what all those goals are, find out their roadblocks, how you can help them, and then whatever the goals are, halve them, and then work that out for where your goal's likely to be. If it doesn't equal your goal, what does it tell you you're going to need to do? Introduce more teams so you can actually achieve that. I don't know how I did that, right? Oh, I did that either. Introduce more teams, right? And then number 4, map it out in stages. 12 months, 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, end of the month, end of this week. What do you need to do? And then finally, keep it top of mind daily. Our vision board added to what we're talking about is okay. On its own doesn't work, as Steve says. Maybe you want to put something in your wallet. Maybe you want to put some photographs up on your Instagram channel, the new one, just that you're going to see because no one else other than you is going to see it, maybe, so that you can keep top of mind what it is. Maybe you want to stick Diamond January 2027 on your steering wheel. So you get in the car and go, I should get off my ass today and do some work because I said I was going to do something and I haven't done it. And Brian Tracy, I'll finish with this. Brian Tracy said this in one of his videos. You can go search it. I saw it years ago. I've used it many times. He says, if you want to achieve a goal, any goal, work out what it is, what you want to achieve, write it on a piece of paper, then break down the goals as we've just done, and then do something every single day to move yourself towards that goal. That's the key thing a lot of people don't do. Do something every single day. And the final thing I said to this lady yesterday is I said, when you ring the first 10 people, if no one joins, big deal. Because you're going to pat yourself on the back for the activity you did. You're not going to judge yourself by your outcomes. All you're doing now is growing as a person, as a brand new Neumi member, and you're going to pat yourself on the back for doing the activity. If you do enough activity, even if you're really crappy at what you do, eventually you'll strike some gold, right? Yes, we can improve our skills, become better communicators, better people, better inviters because we've learnt it. But even if you just do it and do it wrong for a while, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Someone out there is looking for what you've got. And you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. I'll say it again. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person because they're going to be keen anyway, but you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. It doesn't matter what you say. If they're closed-minded, nothing you can say about Neumi is going to change that. They're either interested or they're not. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this has been helpful today. Vision mapping, 5 steps. I'd encourage you right now, as a matter of urgency, to reach out to all of your members and do a vision mapping session with them and work out the 5 steps with them. Then every one of you can be a crown, a diamond, a 2-star, a 1-star, whatever it is that you want to achieve in Neumi this year. You can make it happen. So thank you again for Peter Nagy for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next call. Remember, if you've got any contacts in Australia, New Zealand, Friday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time,